TFRlive.com, and we'll be happy to tell you that we really don't give a damn. We stand for freedom of speech and non-censorship. If you also stand for free speech, you can go to TFRlive.com/sign-up and sign up for a TFR supporter pass and help us in our mission to keep the airwaves uncensored and unregulated. TFR Live, your uncensored and unregulated protection from deception.
Government closure, the 2020 race. I'm Ann Cates. It is day 31 of the federal government shutdown.
President Trump is offering 3 years of extended protection for some dreamers and for immigrants covered by temporary protected status to stay in the U.S. In exchange, he wants $5.7 billion for a border barrier.
Walls work, and we need walls.
But Democratic officials like Minority Leader Chuck Schumer aren't interested in the proposal.
Mr. President, open up the government, and then Democrats and Republicans can have a civil discussion and come up with bipartisan solutions.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Democratic Senator Kamala Harris of California has announced her candidacy for the 2020 presidential race. Correspondent Jeff Zeleny.
In her campaign video, she didn't mention President Trump, but she joined Democratic leaders in rejecting the president's proposal to end the partial government shutdown.
Those folks don't want a wall, they want a paycheck.
Harris joins one of the most diverse and crowded fields of Democratic hopefuls in history, one of 5 potential female candidates.
The U.S. is observing Martin Luther King Jr. Day, with the president paying his respects in Washington.
President Trump spent about 2 minutes standing at the technically closed Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial on a bitterly cold day.
Good morning, everybody. It's a great day. It's a beautiful day. And thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
At an inside celebration of King's life put on by the National Action Network, former Vice President Joe Biden criticizing the president's fighting for a border wall, and his rhetoric was reaching out to young voters as the 76-year-old Mr. Biden weighs another presidential bid.
They have been awakened. Ladies and gentlemen, over 60% of this millennial generation believe that increasing diversity is good for them and good for America.
Bob Costantini, Washington.
S&P futures down by 13 points. The NASDAQ futures off 37. The Dow futures down 114. I'm Ann Cates.
You are now tuned into the Truth Frequency.
We are TFR. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
Astronauts to the moon.
Ten, 9, ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Not to get off track here, but I feel like we're in the Truman Show, and we're in a snow globe, and they just shook it up.
Welcome to reality.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your protection from deception. That's right here at truthfrequencyradio.com or simulcasting on the Jeranism YouTube channel. Altogether, you are all listening to the current, reigning, undisputed #1 show on Truth Frequency Radio on Monday nights between the hours of 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. Pacific. That's 9 to 11 Eastern. That show is Jeranism Monday Night Raw, and it starts now. I'm your host, Jeran from Jeranism, and my co-host, my compadre, my compa, my amigo, is the one and only David Maldonado Weiss. David, how are you this evening?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking.
That's good.
How are you?
You sound a little quiet. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
Why do I sound quiet now? I'm literally eating this microphone.
All right, let's not eat it. Let's pull it away at least an inch or two, and we'll just move forward. Now, maybe you sound good. Maybe it's just quiet to me. That happens. But I do believe everything's running smoothly. Everyone's watching, so we're racking up that watching now number. That's great. Appreciate that. So hello to everyone in the chat, wherever you might be. I do have super chats opened up, so you can get your questions and comments in if you want that way. We will read those on the air. And we are going to be taking calls during the second half of the show. So if you want to get in line early, That phone number is 213-233-3998. Again, 213-233-3998. You can get in line now. And Dave, we're going to put a little rules and regulations on the calls today. Everyone who gets in line, we want just basically have your question ready so that when we go to you, you don't need to ask us how we're doing. Dave, how you doing today?
We're doing fine, both of us. I'll
I'm
answer
doing
for
fine,
both of us.
Thank you. Appreciate that. So we got that taken care of, so you don't need to ask that. And you don't need to tell us that you like us or dislike us. We're used to that. Some people do.
Wait a minute. If they don't like us, they should tell us.
Okay, if you don't like us, you can tell us that.
Otherwise, we'll assume you like us if you don't say you don't like us.
Yes, that's what we're going to assume. So that will be going on the second half of the show, and we'll spam the chat in the YouTube with the link to Ginger Sugarbush 905's channel, where he will be simulcasting the second half, but this on the Jeranism YouTube channel will just be the first half. Also, we got something kind of exciting going on, or I don't know if it's exciting, but we've got an update from Mitchell from Australia on the Torque the Line experiment. So he should be calling in, I think, after the first break. So we'll talk to him and see what's going on. It looks like from what I've seen from his video.
Wait a minute. You said after the first break. Is that a hint?
Is that a hint? Yeah, exactly. Nope, unintended. Yes, it appears from his videos that I've seen that the Spectra line, the extremely strong, fishing line that he used, is not holding up to the test strength that it was supposed to be. I think he'll tell us, but it's something like 50-pound test strength, and it's supposed to be like a 75-pound brake strength. He's finding out that it's much different than that. So he'll be talking to us about what his plans are going forward and update all the people, including myself, Dave, who donated small amounts towards this experiment. Did you donate any money, Dave?
I think I did. I don't recall, but
all right. You don't recall?
I'll donate my donation towards his actual expenses, because I'm sure so far he can't get all his money back.
All right. And we just heard during the break that there's what are we on? Government shutdown day number 31. I don't know about anybody else, but it's so fantastic to not see NASA in the news. It's fantastic. I mean, this is what I'm talking about when we say that they're spending so-called $56 million a day, and they produce nothing for the American public. How do you know? Because when they disappear for 31 days, nobody freaking knows. Nobody cares. It's all, who cares? Who cares if there's not some, you didn't find some new TRAPPIST planets in some galaxy, 93 billion miles away, or, well, that'd be wrong. There is no stars that are that close. No star as close as 93 billion miles, believe it or not. Every star that you can see in the sky, Dave, 25 trillion miles or further.
How far is 1 trillion miles, Jeran?
Oh boy, let's talk. Let's bring it down to where somebody can understand. Let's talk about how much 1 trillion seconds is.
1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. So how many miles did you say?
The closest star is 25 trillion miles.
So you'd have to go 25 miles every second for 31,000 years to get there.
You lost.
Okay. These are not even. These are the term. If you look up in the dictionary, unimaginable, that sentence comes up.
Yeah,
because
totally.
you can't even imagine what that amount of time and distance is.
We have to remember that even the oldest person with the most failing eyes can go outside without glasses, look up, and see the stars. So I guess it's easy to see, even though these people can barely read a book that's in front of their face or a magazine, or no, they can just go outside and see 25 trillion miles at minimum. That's just, I don't know. It really bothers me. It just bothers me. So another thing that bothers me, Dave, is the idea of, I was happy about the government shutdown. I also heard today that Kamala Harris is going to run for president for the Democratic Party, which anything is better than the fact that I heard the other day, I think I heard it on Owen Benjamin's show, that the number one person, the number one Democratic nominee for 2020 is creepy ass Uncle Joe Biden. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? I mean, it scares me that this country would dare even think of electing that man. So I've got to put together a video of some of the clips of him just being the most creepy man you've ever seen, touching little girls, whispering, trying to kiss them, trying to tell them that, it's disgusting.
Just Google creepy Joe Biden in YouTube, and there's tons of videos if you haven't seen it.
Can you Google things in YouTube? I didn't know you can do that.
You can YouTube things in YouTube.
Okay, do that. Yeah, please look that up. Just look up Uncle or creepy Uncle Joe Biden, or I don't know what they call it. Just look up creepy Joe Biden, and you'll see for yourself what we're talking about. It's just creepy as all get out, and the fact that Democrats will race to the polls to elect him because heaven forbid Trump wants to build a wall. So I guess it's better to have people that like to whisper to little girls.
Since you brought up Owen, can we talk about him for a moment?
Let's talk about him, because go ahead.
So I've been mirroring a bunch of clips from him. I think I have 6 or 7 almost in a row now. There's people out there that are like, he's a shill. Those comments don't even see the light of day on my channel, because do you see any evidence of him lying in any way, shape, or form?
No, I have not seen anything like that. No, he's completely honest. That's what I like so much about him.
And he doesn't care. I mean, he just listen to his talk about money. A couple days ago, he did a talk about the alpha male, and that Joe Rogan is not an alpha male. He's not acting appropriately, and about women. Did you hear that rant?
I thought it was great. I liked him even more after hearing that.
Right. So I had more respect for him after that. And then just last night, I think it was, he did another one that was equally as amazing. Just the guy is grounded. He sees what's happening in the world. The Hollywood and his
was last
peers
night talking about the shame. Was that last night's show? I can't remember.
I just remember he's got so much, and there's so much content coming out. But people say Owen's crazy. He's living off his land. He's building a fence. He doesn't care about more bookings and stuff, and he's getting himself cut off from other things. The guy has figured it out, and he's really setting an example for so many people. So I recommend, listening to a 4.5 hour stream every night doesn't work. That's just too much for most people.
Right.
But I've been catching, because it's late for me, I catch it early in the morning. I put it on double speed. I do some work while listening, and it's captivating. The guy has an amazing flow of consciousness, and my hat's off to him.
Yeah, I like the guy a lot. Like I said, truth is my main goal of my channel, with everything that I do, with everything I look into. And so when you find a channel of somebody else who's talking truth and not afraid to say it, those are the channels I gravitate to. I noticed,
and he's a professional comedian too. He's funny too. Some people don't like his humor. His humor is exactly my humor, so I love it.
It's very good. One of the things that happened last week that I saw or earlier this week, I guess it was, that he started mentioning ODD a little bit, which I thought was awesome. And so I texted ODD and tried to see if he would be interested in possibly talking to him. And he said, well, why don't we both talk to him? And I said, well, he's never mentioned my name. And he's like, dude, he tags you in all his Instagram posts. I didn't know that. I don't go on Instagram. So I'm like, wait, so Owen Benjamin does actually know who I am, and obviously has watched a few videos. So I told him, well, let's do it. So, the next time Owen starts talking Flat Earth at all, we're going to try and, text ODD, and him and I are going to go into the chat and see if we can get some people to call us out and say, hey, Jeran and ODD are here, and see if Owen's up for a talk. Because
his chat is going by at over like 1,500 comments a minute. So I don't know how he reads anything on that.
Right, me neither.
I watch him. He's singing a song, he's talking, and he's reading the chat at the same time.
It's much more impressive than I.
Me away. And his live streams are like over 6,000 now. 6,000 live viewers,
which is a huge auditorium. If you've ever been to a comedy show, I mean, unless you're in an arena like in Madison Square Garden or the Shark Tank here in San Jose. Unless you're in one of those big buildings where basketball players play or something like that. If you're in any kind of a little comedy venue, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I can't think of one, but those things barely hold 1,000 usually. So when you got 6,000 people, you're starting to get up there, almost filling an auditorium every night.
Yeah, amazing. And for he's doing 4.5 hours sometimes. He said he's trying not to do it every night. He goes, I feel like I'm on a roll and I enjoy doing it. So he's just honoring the flow that he's in and not resisting. I get it.
Yeah, but I always like to recommend channels that I think are out there speaking the truth. So definitely Owen Benjamin. Make sure you're subscribed and watch if you have the time to do so. But make sure you watch this show first.
Right, yeah, absolutely. The one other thing is people are saying, he hasn't figured out flat Earth yet. He's an idiot, or he's a shill. Nonsense. The guy is got a lot on his mind. Everything he said about flat Earth so far is right where we have all been, but we were able to dedicate more time to focus strictly on flat Earth. He's focusing on a lot of important issues at once. He's going to get there. He's going to have that conversation with one of us. Even if he has it with Eric, he's going to get there.
Yeah, and I really want him to watch a video that I was trying to get done in time before this show, and I wasn't able to, so it'll be out. I might be able to finish it after the show. I don't know. It depends on what I've got going on. But at the very least, it'll be out tomorrow, and that is called How Einstein Made the Earth Move. And basically, I talk a little bit, and then I go into detail of reading the 21-page PDF that was written by Dr. Robert Sungenis, who is a known geocentrist, the director of the movie The Principle. And, Robert Sungenis and I have different opinions on, let's look at what we have the same opinion on. We have the same opinion on the fact that it's a geocentric universe, meaning the Earth is centered here. We are the center of creation. We are the center of everything. So we have that agreement. The only disagreement we have is, of course, he still believes in the sphere Earth, and I cannot find any curvature, and therefore am a flat earther. Now, if I were to ever find curvature, which I don't see, then I would have to jump over and be a geocentric believer right away, simply because of what I point out in this video and read through. Once you understand what went on with Einstein and him being responsible for the fact that the Earth can be considered as moving, when all the tests and experiments that were done by Michelson-Morley have shown that it does not. So it's funny because when I'm doing this video, I point out that we go to Robert Sungenis's Wikipedia page, and the very first sentence says, Mr. Sungenis is a proponent of the pseudoscientific belief that the Earth is the center of the universe. So I go and I look up the definition of pseudoscience, and pseudoscience, the definition of that is science that proclaims to be science and go through the scientific method, which does not. Then I go through this and I kind of tell people, hey, you get to decide in this case which one is pseudoscientific, the belief that the Earth moves or the one that it does not. And once you see that every test that's ever been done has shown the Earth not to move. But what do? They bring in these Lorentz equations, and basically they're equations that say, the reason we can't detect it is because the arm of the apparatus is actually shrinking, and then if the arm is shrinking, then the mass must shrink, and then if that happens, then time has to dilate, and all it is mathematics and mathematical equations. And I think that he writes a great PDF, so I read the whole thing in length, and I think people will really enjoy it, and I hope Owen watches it, because one of the questions I've seen Owen ask over and over again is he keeps saying, well, how does the Earth spin? How does the globe do this? And the whole idea is this incompatibility with the idea that the Earth moves. And the reason, and this explains exactly why. It's because it doesn't move. And every test that's ever been devised has shown that it does not move. And so it's a good video. I wanted to get it out before this, but it'll be out either tonight or tomorrow. And I hope Owen watches that.
Is it fair to say when somebody says, science has proven for the last 500 years that the Earth is a globe, isn't it fair to say actually every accredited test to prove the Earth was spinning with the goal to prove the Earth was spinning failed and proved that it's stationary? Is that a fair statement?
That is completely fair. Yep. And you can go through and I can read some now if we want, but there's just many quotes from different physicists that all say the same thing, that it's and the craziest thing about it is it's the same instance again that I've talked about before with Edwin Hubble, where these guys have presupposed certain things that must be true, and then they go and do experiments trying to show that, but they've already decided that the Earth has to go around the sun. They've already decided that. There's not a question about that. It's not like, we'll do. No, that's been decided long ago, because it's impossible in their mind and their worldview that the Earth is the center. But as I point out in this video, all the science tells us that the Earth is the center. So the only thing that tells us it's not is a bunch of men who refuse to accept the fact that we are the center of the universe. So, to me, that's such a big deal that, I look at it, Dave, I don't know about you, but if we were born and we didn't have any outside influence. So let's just say you and I are born here on Earth and we look around. What do we see? We see magnificence. We see every animal. We see every plant. We see unimagined beauty. And then above our heads, we see stars that keep track of seasons and times for us. And then on top of that, we've got this sun and moon that come into our view every day for, about half the day, and then disappear off as they go further away off to the horizon, or not to the horizon, but you know what I'm saying, perspective-wise. So this is what we see, and we would recognize the beauty in it, and we would look up and see the stars for what they are. They're lights in the sky that keep track of times, and we've got wandering stars that also help keep track of that, and life would be great. That's what everybody would believe. But what did they do is they immediately, the first second they get into your head, and they teach you that the Earth is not all that there is. They have to teach you about other places. Oh, there's this moon that people have landed on. Oh, there's this sun that we can send these probes close to. Oh, there's planets out there. There's other worlds. And then you've just got the whole human race completely and totally confused because they now think we're just on one of many worlds, that there's worlds in the sky twirling around us. And it's just simply not true. And to me, it's like, man, what a different world this would be if we all would have been allowed to grow up and appreciate the Earth for what it is, rather than being told that you're some speck that's spinning out of control, flying 2.2 million miles per hour around some great attractor, and we are never in the same place. It's just ridiculous to me that people have bought into this, but I see why.
Jeran, are you describing my new video that I put out today?
You know what? You're going to hate me. I was making a video today, so I haven't watched your video today. What is your video today?
My video, I took out a Dan Dimensions video from about a year ago and re-edited it. And basically, it's some balloon footage in real time, basically just showing the perfectly stationary Earth from 80 to 100,000 feet. And we put a series of questions in there. The heliocentric model says, and then it lists all the different speeds. And then I edited in pictures of beautiful still bodies of water. Mirror reflection mountains in the water. And I don't know how anybody can watch that and believe that the Earth is moving in any way, shape, or form.
No, I really would struggle if anybody watches my video and comes out of that. It's so clear that this is why they have to say the pseudoscientific position of Robert Sungenis. They have to say that because they have to tell you that it's pseudoscientific, because the opposite is true. That the one where you've got people observing that we're the center of the Earth, observing things all going away from us, doing tests and realizing the Earth doesn't move. And then they have brought in mathematics. They've brought in these equations that change reality. It's just math that they put in, that they adjust the numbers with, and then all of a sudden they can say, oh no, the Earth's actually traveling around the sun. Which really, when you look at relativity, shouldn't even be considered, because if you believe in Einstein's relativity, then all things are relative, meaning if you're on the Earth, it looks like the sun's going around you. If you're on the sun, it would look like the Earth's going around you. And therefore, there is no way to tell which one is the actual truth. Yet, they go around teaching children because it's their worldview, not because science tells you. No. One of the things I say in the video, too, is if you want to believe that you're spinning and flying through the Earth, or flying through the space, and that the Earth is, spinning, and if you want to believe all that mathematics will help you, but science won't. Science can't help you in that regard. Science has shown numerous times, over and over again, for hundreds of years, that the Earth does not move. So you can believe in these guys who can pull mathematical equations out of their wazoo and reformulate the way you think. But if you're talking about observations, if you're talking about empirical evidence, if you're talking about actual observations and experiments, then the only way you can look at it is the Earth is the center. So it's so funny to me when they call it pseudoscience, when the true pseudoscience is the one that doesn't follow the scientific method. And in the scientific method, where does it say to introduce mathematical equations to help you get to the point you want to be at? So that's what those equations have done, is they've allowed them to basically say, well, the Earth can't be at rest because that would be insane. And it's unwanted. It's the absolute horror of a unique position, is what Edwin Hubble said. These guys absolutely refuse, excuse me, to put the Earth at the center, even though all observations show that. So my video, I think, will show that, and David's video, I'll have to watch that after David and see. But that's great that you point that stuff out, and then showing those still bodies of water will be great to see as well, because clearly we're not spinning and flying through space. All of science will tell you that, except for the science that you're taught in school.
I can't tell you how many people, I don't even want to say that they're trolls. They're just indoctrinated souls that say, that's because everything's already in motion. If you're in a car at 60 miles an hour, blah, 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 the whole story we've heard 100 times. But think about that. They say that the Earth bulges at the equator 14 miles high. Rock and trillions of tons of water are bulging because of the spin, right? So the Earth is speeding up and slowing down 2,000 miles an hour every 24 hours. It's twirling and whirling and rocketing. It's speeding up around the sun and slowing down. There's no way water, let alone everything else, would
just sit there.
Would sit there.
No, and please make sure you don't let anybody tell you that it's been proven that the Earth moves, because just watch my video, show them this video. Einstein even said, "I've come to believe that the motion of the Earth cannot be detected by any optical experiment, though the Earth is revolving around the sun." So that statement right there tells you how scientific your belief in the moving Earth is, when Einstein himself says there is no test that can detect the motion of the Earth. However, the Earth is revolving around the sun, because that's his worldview. Their worldview is the Earth cannot be the center. That would bring into play too many religious implications. They don't like that. So what did? They just reworked it with equations. And like it says here, Einstein's admission merely begs the question. If on a scientific basis he can't detect the Earth moving, how then does he know that the Earth is moving? The truth is, he doesn't know. He just assumes it to be so because that's what he's been taught since childhood. And then, in effect, the transform equations is then invoked to make it appear as if the Earth moves around the sun. But in reality, the transform equation is just an equation that has no ability or authority to determine the issue. So it's just a really good video. I think it's very important for people to recognize and see. And people might claim, hey, Jeran, that's a geocentrist who believes in a sphere. Yeah, but again, I just pointed out what our difference is. He points out in this paper that all that it takes is just some tricky mathematics to get people to believe that the Earth moves when it doesn't. What I'm saying is those same tricky scientists have used the same mathematics to trick the world into hiding another one of their mistakes. The fact that they said the Earth was a sphere, once they realize it isn't, they're going to lie to you. They're going to invoke some mathematics to make you believe with 7.6R and terrestrial refraction. That's why you can see too far. They're going to do the same thing. So
I have a question.
And this is just a little bit short.
The mirror test that they did from the beach that you did a video on.
Yeah.
Have the ballers addressed that yet?
No, but I mean, again, the thing is they're just going to invoke this idea of refraction, and they're going to say that things are looming and being bent up from behind curves. Because
this was a tougher one for them to do that, and they haven't done it yet. Here's the techniques that the ballers use is, one, they claim that they are doing science when they're doing zero science. They claim things are in their favor without specifying. So you have to imagine what their proofs are, and there are none. But people just believe it because you've been programmed to believe that. And then when you have something that's really good, they ignore it like it doesn't exist. Therefore, in their world, it doesn't even exist.
Right, because that's the way science is taught, right? I mean, these things that I talked about with this length contraction and time dilation and then mass increase, all those things have never been observed, David. They've never been scientifically or experimentally shown at all, but those are all the equations that must be used to prove that the Earth moves around the sun. So again, it's just...
Before we go to break, sorry, I just want to cut you before we go to break. I want everyone to get up and go outside, whether it's freezing or not, and look at the moon and ask yourself how far away that moon is. I asked that Paige, we went out for a little bite earlier, and I said, what's closer, the moon or the center of the next town right next to us, which is maybe 3 or 4 miles away? And it's a tough question to answer. It's just look at it. Forget what you've been told. Look at it in the sky. It's so bright and clear where I am. It's right there. If I had a good arm, I could throw a rock and hit it.
All right, so that's everybody's homework for the next 2 minutes while we take a quick break. Go outside, look at the moon, and then also look at the stars, and then you guess how far those are. Remember,
if there's any clouds near it, notice how the moon is only lighting up the clouds near it, and the ones in the distance are not lit, which is impossible with a distant moon.
Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw.
Extendivite is more than just a heart tonic. Do you have any of these symptoms? Night cramps in the hands and feet. Your arms and legs often go to sleep. On short walks, do your legs get aches and pains? Is your memory worse than it used to be? Ankles that swell late in the day? Has your blood pressure increased lately? If you answered yes to even one of these questions, you may have early warning signs of arterial blockages. Your body is saying that it is time to take Extendivite. These are not the normal signs of aging. They are the warning signs that accompany blocked arteries. Get your Extendivite today. Extendivite is available in capsule or liquid form for just $69.95 for a 2-month supply. To get started, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Do you want to lose weight but have no idea where to begin? The Fast Start Diet, a 3-day weight loss plan, is the answer. 3 days of nutritionally balanced, calorie-restricted meals delivered right to your door. No shopping, no measuring, and no cooking. Everything is prepared for you and ready to eat at home or on the go. The Fast Start Diet has all the amazing benefits of intermittent fasting without starving. We've helped thousands of people who have struggled to reach their weight loss goals. Isn't it time we helped you? With the Fast Start Diet, you'll lose weight and feel great.
Find us on Amazon or go to faststartdiet.com and use promo code POWER to get $10 off your first box. As a special bonus, we will include our #1 rated Lipo3 appetite suppressant spray free with your order. Whatever your diet plans are, start with us at faststartdiet.com and use promo code POWER.
Greetings, Earth Explorers. My name is Brooks Agnew, and I am your host on X Squared Radio every Sunday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the Truth Frequency Radio Network. This is where the past meets the future. We explore the mysteries of the universe and of the Earth. We might go a little past your imagination, but have no fear. You will be safely traveling with us. We will dissolve the propaganda of dangerous people with dangerous plans for the planet. We will discuss the latest technologies and challenges for humankind. We will discover the safest place for you to stand when the thinkings and doings of mankind come flying apart, and how you can be one of the people that helps put it back together. Join us.
Real people, real radio. Wherever you are, make it TFR. The Truth Frequency Radio.
Listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. I just went out myself, David, and I looked, and I'm so pissed, though, because it's such a clear night tonight. I can see the stars. The moon is just coming up, and it is huge and close. But on top of all that, yesterday, during the eclipse, I couldn't see a thing. Sad. Really disappointed. Sure. Yeah, it was pretty sad. What did you see? Did you happen to get to see the eclipse?
I did. I got about halfway, and then I had to go to sleep. It's the shape of the eclipse. You know, we're all indoctrinated that only a sphere, no matter which way the sun hits it, can make a perfect curve on another sphere, right? Bill Nye is telling us this, indoctrinating it into people. People like, how that's the biggest excuse that bowlers have. There's an eclipse. And therefore, it can only be that because if the Earth was a disk, it would be a sliver on the moon. But the truth is, you can't take a sphere and cast a shadow on another sphere to make that perfect curve, because as it moves over it, it becomes very oblong. It becomes this flattened out. What's the shape of what shape is that?
An ellipse, basically.
An ellipse. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, what people need to do if they don't believe what you're saying is do what I did last night, because I could not get it to work. I took my globe, I took a tennis ball and put it a little bit further than the globe, and tried, different distances, different things with the light. No matter what you do, when you have a sphere and you're putting a shadow on another sphere, it's the opposite of what we see in reality. It doesn't start as a little dome shape showing up on the ball that you're casting the shadow on. It actually comes up under like a happy face. The shadow should start as a happy face, go up towards the middle, become kind of a straight line, and then appear to kind of go the opposite to a frowny face on top. And if you don't believe me, please go do it. You should have a globe or at least some sort of basketball and maybe a baseball or a basketball and a tennis ball, and go into your garage or in a dark room and try and cast a shadow that looks like what we see in the sky. You won't find.
And also try this: shine a light on a basketball or whatever, and then take a straight edge, a piece of wood, a book or whatever, and slide that in front of it, and you'll see something that looks a lot more like what we see in the sky. Now, I'm not saying that it's a straight edge that is doing it, but what I'm saying is the explanation of a ball, only a sphere can do that, is nonsense. A sphere cannot cast that shadow. A straight edge can, and many other things also.
Right, and that's what we're trying to point out. Again, there's all these different things that we were taught that are, facts about the heliocentric model or things that are exclusive to a heliocentric model, and they're slowly, day by day, getting eliminated. As far as boats going over the curve, doesn't happen, haven't seen it, can't see a video of it at all, can't see it in reality, and add to that this shadow on the moon that they tell everybody is exactly what the heliocentric model calls for, but it doesn't work.
Right. I mean, but this one is the exact opposite. Only a sphere can make this curve, and it's actually only a sphere cannot make this curve.
Right. So definitely go check that out. And David and I were actually talking quite a bit yesterday about the eclipse, because one of the things that we didn't do on the app that was just because it was too difficult is we knew we could have the sun going up and down the hour hand, basically staying wherever it is based on the time of year. If it's the southern summer, then it will be out on its outer track. If it's the northern summer, then it's out on its inner track. The moon, we wanted to at first try and do that as well to see where it would be on the track. And we were talking yesterday, and we weren't able to do that, but we were talking yesterday about, is there some coincidence or, is there some connection between when we get this blood moon eclipse and what track it's on? Then we started talking about what other things at the center of the Earth could be causing this shadow. So David had a few ideas. David, one of them is the idea of Mount Meru.
Yeah, if you look at the app, you'll see that the center is in between the sun and the moon, and maybe it is a physical mountain that is up in the sky, just like many stories tell us, which would make sense with compasses and all sorts of stuff. Maybe the sun is now when the sun doesn't light up the moon with photons, I believe the sun powers up the moon, whatever it is, like a Tesla coil would. So that energy is running to the moon, and the moon is across from us, across from the sun. And so maybe Mount Meru, or the magnetic field of Mount Meru, is what is eclipsing the moon. Now, on a regular eclipse, when the moon is completely eclipsed, you can still see it. If it was the Earth's shadow, the moon would be completely invisible because it would be blocking all the light. I think during a full eclipse, maybe the moon powers down to 5% of its normal energy or less. But during a blood moon eclipse, that the moon is, we're thinking it's on its inner track over the Tropic of Cancer.
Which it must have been, because last night the moon, at least where it was supposed to be, again, I couldn't see it, but was right above my head. Was it about right above your head too?
Yeah, it was pretty much right above our head. So it was on the Tropic of Cancer. So maybe somebody can check for us, because I haven't had the time or know where to look at, is, do blood moons happen when the sun is on its inner track? Do all of them happen when it's on its inner track? Also, if this is the case, it sure would be easy to predict when these when these cycles happen, and it would make sense that the Saros cycle, 18 and a half years or whatever it is a real thing. I mean, the clock in the sky, the lights in the sky are a perfect clock.
Now, David, somebody might say to you, you're talking about Mount Meru or this possible magnetic thing. Well, wouldn't people see Mount Meru if there was some, huge iron mountain at the center of the earth? And the easy answer to that is absolutely not. I mean, if we just look at like Canigou, the peaks of Canigou, we go crazy when twice a year we can actually see, because the sun sets in that direction, that they light up as a silhouette. But that's at 200 miles, meaning you can't even see that mountain at any other time.
And what latitude is that at?
I don't know that.
But Canigou is way closer to the sun, so it's much more brightly lit up. Like a brightly lit up mountain, you can probably see a lot, definitely see a lot farther than a dimly lit mountain. Everybody would agree with that. And Mount Meru would be the dimmest lit mountain, the dimmest lit spot on Earth, period. Even when the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer, the amount of light that's bouncing off of Mount Meru and coming back, let's say it went twice the distance of Canigou, which is impossible in my mind. That's 500 miles. Yeah. Has anyone recently been 500 miles within the North Pole?
No, please.
I don't think anyone's allowed.
If you've traveled that way, yeah, no, and that's definitely a place that I would love to go see, get as close as we can, but see what happens. I don't know, but no, I don't think anybody's been anywhere close to that. So yeah, I think that the Mount Meru, and for people who think it's just some folklore or something, Mercator, who a lot of people consider one of the best map makers of his day, he included Mount Meru and talked about it in several stories and letters. So I think that it'd be foolish of us to just dismiss it as impossible, which a lot of people will do. If you're a heliocentric believer, you hear something about Mount Meru or a mountain at the North Pole, you're just going to dismiss it again, much like the whole idea of the Earth moving. If your worldview is against the flat Earth and against any idea that goes, opposite of what we've been taught in school, you're gonna decline any of that stuff, and that's just, you're not even going to listen. That's another thing I say at the start of my video is, if you don't believe in the flat Earth, or you don't believe that science has taught us any errors, then you'll never listen to the entire video I do. You'll never even listen to it. We both know that. We all know that. That's the sad thing about people who have such a strong bias in one direction. And somebody who says, oh, Jeran, you have the same bias. Again, you have to remember, I grew up just like you did. I was taught all the things you did. I believed I was on a spinning ball. I believed in planets. I thought there was rovers on Mars. All these things I believed as well, until you look into them, and then you realize that they're all pseudoscience.
I have a experiment request for somebody that has the right equipment. Somebody that has called a Van der Graaf generator or a Tesla coil that can light up light bulbs. If they could either light up one circular light bulb, or if they can get a whole array of tiny little lights and pack them all together, light it up with the coil, and then pass a magnetic field through it, and see if those lights start dimming as that magnetic field interferes with the coil. That could be what is happening on the moon, and I think it's something that could be tested to see if we can produce a similar effect.
Yeah, another thing might be just simply the atmosphere, as difficult that might be for people to understand, but any kind of transparent medium like that will cast shadows. So it could possibly be, if you have a pane of glass, even though it's transparent, that glass will cause a shadow. If you have an atmosphere and a light far from it, it will cast a shadow as well. And people may not realize, but if the sun has gone far away from me so I can no longer see it, I'm not going to be able to see any shadows that distant light might be causing with the atmosphere, because if it's casting a shadow, it's casting a shadow on the black sky. I would never see it. But you would see it if the moon happens to pass into that general direction. So lots to talk about, or lots to look at as far as the eclipse. But if you saw the patterns or the motions or the directions of the moon, the way that they supposedly go up and the way it comes down, nothing matches the globe model. It just doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work unless you invoke the flat Earth model. And David, I know you and I were talking about this too, because a lot of people have a question about how on the flat Earth could everyone see the moon shadow enter, or they call it the Earth shadow, the shadow that crosses the moon. How does it cross at a different location for everyone on Earth? Do you have an answer for that one?
Yeah, people were asking me whether they sent me a video showing it coming in from the left and coming in from the top, and saying this, they're flat earthers, but they're having difficulty understanding how it could come in from the top in one place and the bottom in another unless the earth was a ball. That's just ball programming that you haven't been able to break yet. I just say get a circular light on your ceiling, put some tape on it so it's half eclipsed, and then go walk around your room, take pictures from it from all different positions of your room, and you'll get the exact same thing.
Right.
Just one thing I want to say about that, though, people say, well, when it's farther away, it's not going to be a circle because of perspective, and that is absolutely true. But as we've said many times, we don't believe that we're looking at the real moon and the real sun. The real moon and the real sun, I believe, are above the sky that we can see. Mm-hmm. And the sun is lighting up the moon, and then we are seeing that moon projected, for lack of a better word, onto our sky screen or our personal atmospheric dome. So wherever it's coming down, you're getting the full circle.
Right. It's just like when we used to be kids and we would drive and say, why is the moon following me? And it's the kind of same thing that you have that.
And your mom would say, be quiet, dummy. And in fact, she's the dummy.
Because it's far away. So in a second, we're going to take a call from Mitchell from Australia. But I also wanted to point out something interesting. If everybody was listening last week, we had a very interesting, unique call. We had a call from somebody who was blind or who went blind recently, or I don't think he's blind for his entire life. But he was a flat earth believer. And at the end of the show, I got a phone call from, many people might remember, Naysay, Kevin from Minnesota, who is a blind listener to this show, who is a ball believer. And he said he wanted to challenge the blind flat earth believer to a blind debate. Is that a good way to describe it? Yeah. So we're going to find out after the show. I'm going to contact the guy that called last week. We did get his information, and I do have Kevin's information. So if both of them agree, it may be happening that next week we've got a blind flat earther versus a blind globe earther.
So I have to ask a question. So what's politically correct? When you do this, do we just have a black screen, or do we actually have information on the screen?
I don't know. Is blind okay to say? I don't want to overstep any bounds. I think blind's okay. I don't know if there's like a PC word I'm supposed to be using, but maybe unsighted. I don't know. So we'll have this unsighted debate. Should be interesting if both guys agree. But let's go to Mitchell from Australia. I did tell him I would take his call. I don't want to keep him waiting. He's got something to report in regards to the Torque the Line experiment. Let's see if he's on the line. Mitchell, are you there? David, do you love me?
Hey, Jeran. How you going, mate?
Mitchell, do you love me? Do you miss me? Do you ever want to?
That was good, Dave.
Can we get that guy off the line? What?
Doing that little dance.
What's his name? Derek or something? Who's that other guy on the line? Can you get rid of him?
No, he's going to be here. I'll just tell him to pipe down. I know I don't like him either, Mitchell. It's all right.
Oh yeah, how you going, guys? Yeah, I got a bit to report and talk the line for everyone that kind of donated. At least, yeah, this is kind of a bit of a massive hold up. Like I've pretty much gone through every single attachment method I can. The most recent video I've just put out today just shows that I've used a knot called the FG knot, and that's pretty much taken all tension off the spectra and putting it onto the like a leading line. So there's absolutely no factors that's snapping the spectra except for the spectra itself, and it's only coming up at 44 pounds, and it's rated at 50 pounds and rated to break at 78 pounds. So I'm sending it back, and I've got confirmation from the supplier and the manufacturer that if it is found to be faulty, that I will be getting a refund. So yeah, whoever has donated, including you both, if you want a refund, I can be issuing it. But I encourage people to email me at talktheline@gmail.com, get in contact with me and have a chat about what options we can have.
Okay, yeah, great. So email Mitchell at, go ahead and give the email again. Is it Torque the Line Experiment or Torque the Line at Gmail?
Just Torque the Line at Gmail. So TORQUETHELINE@gmail.com.
Okay, so if you donated to that experiment, and if people don't know what we're talking about, Mitchell from Australia had taken the reins and was going to do the experiment with the test line and basically stretch it across a little over 2 miles a big lake that's in Australia, and then he was going to try and see if the center of the line actually dipped underneath the hump of water that would be there on a globe model. But he's been testing the line, and it was supposed to be a 50-pound test and 75-pound break. Is that what you said? And all
that's right. Yeah, that's what it was meant to be.
And all of his tests are showing breaking early. So he's going to send that back, and then if they do the same test and realize that it's faulty line, they're going to be issuing a refund, in which case he would be able to refund people that donated to that experiment. So if you did donate to that experiment, please email him at torquetheline at Gmail. And you can keep my donation, Mitchell, because I know you've been through a lot, and I've seen your videos as you go about testing this stuff. So don't worry about refunding me.
Thanks a lot, Jeran. Yeah, I don't plan on keeping any of it. I appreciate that, and appreciate anyone who has helped me and all the comments and just getting exposure for this thing, because I think it's still a very viable experiment, just not with this actual line.
Right. So are you going to keep looking into different lines to do it, or have you given up on the experiment altogether? Where do you stand as far as that goes? The biggest factor I've got at the moment is my wife's pregnant. She's kind of due in a couple of months. So this is all meant to be over and done with by now. Right.
This is a bit of an awkward time for me. But there is another guy. His name's Rob. He's from Virginia. He was looking into doing the same thing, but he hasn't got his line or anything. So I was looking maybe helping him out at the moment, because I'll probably, by the time I order a new line and it gets to me and tested, I don't think I'll actually be able to go out and do the experiment. But I'm happy to help anyone else out that feels like they've got the equipment or the lake, just the location, because I've kind of got equipment I can send to anyone and donate for a new line. As I was saying, but Rob, he's looked into a line that's more neutrally buoyant, I think, and a lot stronger. It's about 600-pound breaking strength.
Oh wow!
He's got a rig that kind of can, he's got a rig that can withstand that sort of force being put onto the line. So I think that's the key. We have to get a stronger line and more neutrally buoyant, because the Spectre was pretty good. Like it was 0.98 SG. That means it's only 2% buoyant. So if we get it more neutrally buoyant, like around 1, that will take out the kind of the buoyancy factor over that distance, so we'll get more of a result. So if anyone else has,
I was going to suggest using a kite line. I'm a kite surfer, and there's a brightly colored line, and it's neutrally buoyant. It might even sink just a little bit, and it's 2,000-pound test.
Did you ever lay it across any water?
Sorry,
Jeran?
I was just wondering if you ever laid it across any water to see how it floated.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It floats, and it might even sink a little bit.
Right, but as far as the line that you had, Mitchell, did you ever put it across any body of water just to see what it did?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it just pretty much floats there, and then you kind of put it under, both ends under, and kind of pull it tight, and then let it go, and very, very gradually it kind of rises up. So there is a bit of a buoyancy factor in it. That was in salt water, so there's even more of a buoyancy factor. But fresh water has a lot less buoyancy in it.
True.
So a lot less force. But but I think the key to this is that the actual line. That's just something that has come. Like I thought maybe my rig or the wind or some other factors would come up that would prevent me from doing this experiment. But it seems it's the line, which I thought was a pretty much shoe-in, because the manufacturer, it's a pretty high-end product. Like they specify it to withstand this much force, because people use it for fishing. I'm sure people catching a big tuna or something wouldn't appreciate it getting off, because it's a faulty line or something. So I'm kind of a bit frustrated at that, because it kind of should have been done by now.
All right. Well, we appreciate the call, and if anybody has any questions or wants to inquire about a refund on the donation, email torquetheline@gmail.com. Anything else for us, Mitchell? Do you have a song to sing on your way out or anything?
Yeah, I do, but that's already been sent to David, so he can unveil that in the next Flat Earth podcast show, the number 2 podcast show out there for Flat Earth.
All right, Mitchell, we appreciate it. David, I'm going to be watching the next episode just so I can hear Mitchell's song, so don't forget to include it, okay?
Could you hear that when I played that?
No, what did you play?
Oh, man, it's great noise cancellation. I just played his entire song, Davey, Do You Love Me?
Play it. Here, I want to hear a little bit.
It won't play. It won't. Hold on. I'll try again.
A little louder. No, I can't hear. It's too quiet.
It's because the Skype is actually pretty smart. It noise cancels anything that's coming out of the speaker.
Oh, okay. That's good. I thought it was noise canceling people with Australian accents.
No.
In which case I would have agreed with it. But, all right. So, like we said, when we get back from break, we will be solely on the Ginger Sugar Bush 905 channel. So make sure if you're in the Jeranism chat that you click on the link that I'm sure moderators will spam here shortly. And then we will all head over there. But until then, we've got a couple minutes to talk about just a few more things. David, at the end of Globebusters yesterday, by the way, Globebusters is back. I hope everybody was able to at least catch some of the episode from yesterday. I know we went super long again, over 4 hours, but it was a great show.
Plus a pre-show.
Plus a pre-show. Thank you. We say we were going to get shorter, and then we added a pre-show and went well over our time, as we always do. But it was great to have Bob back, and I thought that it was a great show. A lot of important information in that show. So I'm sure Seventh Day Truth Seeker and other people that always cut up Globebusters are doing so as we speak to put up some of the smaller segments so that people can digest them. I know 4 hours is a long time. But yes, Globebusters is back, so check that out. But at the end of Globebusters, we played an interesting video made by Summer, who has the channel No Eyes Domed Skies, all one word, No Eyes Domed Skies. Her name is Summer. David, you sent that to us at the end, and it was so freaking hilarious.
I had just watched it. Mark Sargent actually sent it to me, and I was like, oh my God. And Paige is like, they should play that on Globebusters. So I popped it in, and I said, just play this. Trust me. And you guys played it blind, and it was good.
It was good. It was so funny.
We watched it like 5 times.
Yeah, she went through, and I think the video is called all popular Flat Earth channels in one video or something like that. But she, kind of does a little Rob Skiba, does a little me and Bob and John and Eru, and she also does some Dean Odell, which I thought was hilarious. A little angel enters into the screen and whispers into Dean Odell's ear some information because Dean Odell is known to communicate directly with the creator. So
it's so good.
So
the Mark impression was amazing.
The Mark impression was spot on.
Alex was better than Alex.
Yeah,
the Flat Earth music guru. It was unbelievable. She could take over.
But if you haven't seen that video yet, you need to watch it because there is no more perfect impression of Mark Sargent that can be done.
No, there's no doubt. Nobody can do better.
Nobody can do better. If you're
wondering why we haven't done a Flat Earth podcast, look at the impression of Matt, my co-host.
Yes, busy with marriage after parties.
Before we go to break, if anyone that has the Android app, a new version came out last week with the jump forward 3 months button, so you can show people seasons and upload your own video. There'll be another update tomorrow, and I believe iOS is getting updated tomorrow with the same function. So when you open up your app and you see update, that'll be in there, and maybe some new backgrounds too that I threw in there.
All right. Well, that's looking forward to that. I'll check my app for any updates tomorrow.
Great for flat smacking friends and family.
Yes, quite great.
And if you don't have it, links in the chat.
Thank you. And we're just, so everything else, if you've noticed, you might notice that Globebusters is changing its logo a little bit just to prevent any issues, because I did see today that there is a trailer out for a Ghostbusters 3 with the original cast, which is kind of exciting. I've always enjoyed that movie. But, we just wanted our logo to look a little bit different than the Ghostbusters, so we're going to change it up a little bit. So you'll see that. You'll see the channel icon change and a few other things. And then also just, looking out for those channels like Nathan Oakley and other people that are getting false copyright strikes. Man, that's just ridiculous. It's pretty pathetic that no Flat Earther is going out and doing that against any Ball Earth channel. That's just not what we do. We just report what we find and hope people help them find their way through the research that needs to be done. Anyway, Ginger Sugarbush 905's channel. We'll see you on the other side. TFR Live.
Frequency
Frequency Radio is your #1 source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like Beyond the Veil with Chris and Cherie Geo, X Squared with Brooks Agnew, Paranormal Portal with Brent Thomas, Jeranism RAW with Jeran and Missa, Fearless with Frank Castle, Strange World with Mark Sargent, The Eye of Ra with Ra Castaldo, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray, Ironworks with Josh Corey, The Kev Baker Show, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR-LIVE. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Government shutdown, the 2020 race. I'm Ann Cates. The federal government remains closed for a 31st day with no end in sight. Correspondent Caitlin Collins.
The White House wants to send a message here that they're open to finding a way out of this government shutdown, and they're willing to put something on the table to entice those Democrats to come back to negotiating. Because inside the White House, they are paying close attention to those polls that show that most Americans are holding the president responsible for this shutdown and not Congress.
Another candidate has entered the race for the Democratic presidential nomination. Correspondent Jeff Seleny.
Truth, justice, decency, equality, freedom, democracy.
With those words, Kamala Harris made it official today.
That's why I'm running for president of the United States.
The California senator making her announcement as the nation remembers the legacy of Martin Luther King Jr., highlighting her own heritage as the first African-American woman in the race.
I describe myself as a proud American. That's how I describe myself.
The world's top CEOs are feeling gloomy about the global economy.
On the eve of the World Economic Forum in Switzerland, a survey finds that nearly a third of the world's top corporate executives believe world growth will decline this year, a gauge of pessimism that's up nearly 6 times from a year earlier. The consulting firm PwC says trade tensions, a global downturn, and fading benefits from President Trump's tax cuts were among the reasons tapped in their annual questionnaire, a survey that's billed as a good predictor for the world's economic landscape in 2019. I'm Jan Johnson.
The union representing teachers in Los Angeles says the strike will continue into its 6th school day tomorrow. The union says even if a tentative agreement is reached at the last minute, educators will not report to work until they have ratified the deal. S&P futures down 14, the Dow futures off 127. I'm Ann Cates.
Tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. This is Truth Frequency Radio.
On the weekday, don't be surprised, don't be surprised. Walk like us. They even talk like us. Walk like us. But they are not like us. On the weekday, you can see the signs, you can see the signs. They wear the disguise. Look into the mind's eye. There's nowhere to hide. Don't stick covered lines. Whispers from afar.
All right, welcome back. You're listening, excuse me, to Jeranism Cough, and appreciate you guys joining us. If you want to get in line, the phone lines are starting to line up because we are going to be taking calls. That phone number is 213-233-3998, or you can dial 1-866-26-TRUTH. That's 866-268-7884. We are asking to, keep it short. Have your question ready, and whether or not you hate us. No, sorry, not whether or not you hate us. Only if you hate us, you're going to point that out. If not, we're going to assume that you love us and assume that me and David are doing fine. And then you're just going to ask the question so we can power through those calls. But we just have a few more things we wanted to talk about. David, I've got an issue here. I've got on my little outline here pictures of clouds. What the hell does that mean?
Pictures of clouds.
Why did I put that down?
We were talking about when we're shown views of the Earth from space.
There we go. Okay, now I was like, what did I write?
So we look at the clouds, and they're actually drawing what we know as clouds, because from that distance, clouds wouldn't look like that. If you look at them, like the smallest cloud that you'll see on one of these shots of Earth from space is bigger than Texas, bigger than the United States. These clouds are gigantic, continual clouds, because it's like somebody's drawing the clouds from the ground, from that distance.
You mean it's Photoshop because it has to be?
It's not even Photoshopped. Some of them are just literally paintings, and they're painting what you'll recognize as a cloud, because if you look at high altitude footage, most of it.
Look at Dwayne Kellum's stuff. Once you get up at a certain height, you can't see clouds like that at all.
Right. Not at all.
No.
So it's just they're showing us what our imagination would think.
Correct. And that's exactly what Rob Simmons says from NASA when he says we have to depict in the Earth in the way that people would expect it to look from space. But it's Photoshop because it has to be, because they're just taking data from strips of satellite data, if you want to call it that, high altitude plane data, if you want to believe that, and they just strap it to this model of a ball, and then they're going to put clouds like you would recognize, and then people look at the globe and they think that's the Earth. But again, please go do some research, do some searching on Google for pictures of the Earth from space, and you will see huge problems with sizes of continents, with colors involved. And you can say, oh, it's a different camera, it's a different filter, but there's so much wrong with these images, and the fact that you should just be able to look at it and say, that's not the Earth. It's easy for me. It's easy for Eddie Bravo, easy for David. There's a lot of people that have now realized that you can just not look at it anymore and even for a moment think that it's real. It's completely and totally false. And I think Eru did a good job, I think it was last week on Globebusters, pointing out that they've just used in the past an actual model of the Earth, a painted model. And that's what they showed from the Apollo 11 missions or the Apollo missions, is basically just a camera shot of a painted model Earth with a black background, and then they go in and edit some clouds on top. So to me, it's painfully obvious that we don't live on the circle that they show on pictures from space. I don't know about you.
Absolutely. It's just, if people just, I say stop, look, and think just for a minute. Just clear your head and actually think. And that is the problem, because we're not taught how to think, and we're actually chemically poisoned, so we have difficulty speaking. And I'm talking about fluoride. And I think that's literally one of the main causes of people not being able to think.
Dave, you know how I know that fluoride is bad for me? Is because if you go to a grocery store, Walmart, something like that, and you go to look for toothpaste, every single toothpaste has fluoride. Every single one. And it's ridiculous. Why would you have it in every toothpaste?
Because it's good for you.
Yeah.
Tom's, some of Tom's doesn't have it.
See, yeah, but that stuff's hard to find unless you go on Amazon or something. What I'm saying is that, like a store, they don't even offer that option. I had a new hygienist at the dentist the other day. And she goes, I see in your chart you don't like fluoride. Why don't you want fluoride? And so I gave her the whole fluoride lecture, and her eyes are open, like, really? What? No way. You're kidding me. And then I showed her when she was giving me my to-go bag and stuff. She's like, oh, I guess you don't want this sample toothpaste. And I showed her, I go, read this little warning label. And she read it. It says, if you swallow a pea-sized amount, call poison control. And she's like, just the look on her face, she got that fluoridated stare a little bit. But she was like, the thing about that, though, is it doesn't matter that you don't have to swallow it. Your mouth is the most sensitive.
Oh, I pointed out that absolutely. You're swallowing some of it. It's going in through, sublingually under your tongue, and
sure,
it's the worst thing ever. And then besides that, she's a workout fanatic, not in a bad way, in a good way. And she says she drinks, about 2 gallons of water a day. And I'm like, you're poisoning yourself.
And she's not using the water distiller?
She actually, I gave her the link. She said she was going to order it right then and there. And I said, do it now. You'll have it by tomorrow.
I'm thinking
hopefully she did.
Yeah, I'm thinking of doing a video on it, just pointing out what comes out of your water, because it is disgusting. And
your water distiller flipped me out. I'm still having nightmares.
Yeah, man, there's just mountains of white crud, and it feels so good not ingesting that stuff and knowing that I used to love to drink a lot of water, and now that I get to distill it, and you can even test it with its I think those water testers are $5 on Amazon or something, and every single time that thing outputs a whole gallon of water with 0 parts per million. And before you put it in the distiller, I've gotten anywhere from 150 to 200, but when we used to live in Salinas, that water was testing at 450, which is just I think 500 is the legal limit that a city can offer people. So test your water and see what's in there. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a quick story.
Well, real quick, I was just going to say, just to finish off on the fluoride thing, people don't realize that when you take acid, like, I don't know, when you were a kid or a teenager and you took acid, all you do is you put that little cube on your tongue. Or when you, I don't know, I've seen people who do cocaine and they like wipe it on their gums. The reason that people do that is because that's the quickest way to get to your bloodstream. So it doesn't matter if you don't swallow the toothpaste. You're brushing fluoride into your gums, which is the quickest way to get it into your bloodstream. So, man, for me, I stay the hell away from that stuff for sure.
Yeah. So years ago in my rabbit hole days, there were some friends that I just couldn't wake up to anything, 9/11, any of the hoaxes. They just couldn't see it. But then they had some health issues, and I convinced them to start drinking a distilled water and a couple other things. And then all of a sudden, like a month later, they're like, hey, wait a minute, this is weird. And they woke up to everything. And I'm convinced that the distilled water actually leaches the fluoride out of your pineal gland and lets you, makes you start to think again, and it makes you care again. And so if you're having a trouble with a friend, start them on fluoridated water. If you can get them on that, then they'll wake up. It's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
All right, and I totally agree. I mean, at first I heard about it, whatever it was, a year ago, and was just thinking, all right, I think I'm fine. I think the water's fine. But now I have myself questioning how often I should be showering, and should I be showering with distilled water, because I know that there's fluoride in that water that comes out of my shower that's being soaked into my skin the entire time I'm in there. So,
yeah, I know.
What do you do? You just shower as quick as you can and don't have any you and Paige sessions in the shower? Is that how you take
care? Easy. I actually concentrate and focus, and I tell my pores not to let any water soak in when I'm in the shower, and I put an energetic shield around myself.
Nice. I thought you were going to say like spray yourself with Pam or something, but that's
I was going to say something like that, but
better idea. All right, let's go to the phone calls. Let's start out with the first caller. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. This is the 334 area code. Who's this? Where are you from?
Hey, it's Carlos from Alabama again.
Carlos, what's going on?
Not much. Yeah, I guess go ahead and jump into it. As you asked, this really goes to David Wise. We've had some conversations through Skype, but he's saying that I don't want to, of course I'm not a flat earther.
No.
But I've been listening to you guys for 34 years, and and trying to be open-minded. And I told him, I'm still haven't found any substantial evidence to make me think otherwise yet. And I will say I don't believe in evolution or the Big Bang. I'm believe in intelligent design, a creator. So what do you say I should do? I mean, how should I go about it?
Carlos. And I didn't mean, I wasn't being rude to you or anything. I'm just saying the number of people that want to talk to me on Skype, if I gave them all 5 minutes, I would be booked 24/7. So, I talk to as many people as I can, and it's better to talk on a forum like this where I'm talking to a large number of people. But the reason I didn't want to talk to you specifically about that point was your argument was that boats in the distance and things in the distance, buildings disappear from the bottom up, therefore it has to be curvature. And I said, no, it doesn't. And I sent you 2 perfect videos that show you exactly why things disappear from the bottom up. Clearly and through scientific experiments, visually show you, so there's no shadow of a doubt that that's another way things can disappear from the bottom up. And your comment is, I still haven't seen anything that proves it otherwise. When somebody says that, I'm done.
Well, and then you also didn't understand, like when I did my show with Nathan Oakley, who was 2 or 3 times described the reason why something at the bottom, something close to the Earth, something that's got the smallest angle that you can possibly see would disappear first. And he explained it 2 or 3 times, and you kept saying that you didn't understand it, which to me at some point, I just, I don't know how we just move on. But I do have a question for you, because when you say that you believe in a creator and you believe that the Earth is obviously special, I don't know if you believe that the Earth is the center. I don't think you believe that, or you would be a geocentrist. So my question is, if you believe in a creator, is what you think is that the creator created a sphere Earth, populated it somehow with animals and people and plants and everything, and then created planets that are millions of miles away from us, that are terraformed, that are places people can go, but you just can't go there because you would get killed. You can't live there. You can't. So the creator made all these other planets, and then on top of the other planets made other suns that are trillions of miles away, and around those suns are other planets, and we're talking about trillions of other suns. So that's your belief? I'm like shocked that you can have that belief. How do you believe in a creator, and you believe that the creator made this special Earth, but then also made a bunch of other junk? What is everything else in the universe? What is all that? Just for us to marvel at?
Well, yeah. He's an all-knowing God, the beginning and end. It's a lot of things that we don't understand.
Carlos,
you understand?
Here's the problem. You just blindly believe that. You just write that off because, hey, he knows it all and he has a reason, therefore it is. But when I show you clear, undeniable evidence of why things disappear from the bottom up, and you say, I still haven't seen anything that shows otherwise, that to me is somebody that does not want to learn.
Or doesn't.
Well, you call it clear and obvious, but that's your opinion.
No, it's not my opinion. It's proven with scientific method. The Althea Empty Horizon video I showed him, and I forget the other one, but there is physical evidence that shows you why things disappear. Just the Skunk Bay footage alone, which I didn't even send you, that shows you that things disappear due to atmospheric effects and angle of view, and they disappear from the bottom up. You just haven't been paying attention or unwilling to learn.
Well, you said small objects.
I told you that small objects do, like small boats and stuff. But I was asking, but how come a 30 floor building is missing half of the bottom? I sent you Red Pill Philosophy's page where he shows you how they get compressed and how they look different on different days. If it was curvature, they wouldn't look different on different days. But he showed you that 15 floors should have been missing, and you could see the trees that are below these floors, and towards the bottom they get compressed due to atmospheric effects. You cannot deny it. I'm not done talking. Okay. You cannot deny it. It's showing it physically, proving it, and you say you haven't seen anything that can show you otherwise. That's something that that's going to be your belief, and enjoy it, because
I'm not sure if you're really looking for evidence to change your mind, or looking for other evidence, because you just said a small boat. You're like, yeah, a small boat does. So how don't you understand that if instead of that small boat, if the small boat is just the bottom of a larger boat, why wouldn't you understand that if the small boat disappears, then the bottom of a boat would disappear? If that small boat is just a smaller section of a larger boat, I don't understand how you don't grasp that you're saying, oh, well, small things disappear at the horizon, but a small thing is a piece of a larger thing. So anything.
Right, yeah, and I get what you're coming from, but it's really hard to explain it. You have a point there, but I have to physically show you my rebuttal to that argument. But I know what you're saying. I understand, but it's hard to tell you over the phone. But yeah, that's a good point. But once again, I think it's smaller objects to get hidden behind the mirage. Go ahead, sorry.
No, that's great, but I hope you understand it. You just said it again. You said smaller objects get hidden behind a mirage. How don't you understand that a large item, a large building, a large boat, whatever, the bottom part of that is the equivalent of it being the small boat you just said disappears behind a mirage. So if a small boat disappears behind a mirage, then the lower section of a bigger boat would disappear behind the mirage, and the lower section of a mountain would disappear behind the mirage, and a lower section of a building would. So I appreciate the call, Carlos. Let's move on. We got a few more callers in line. And please, I like what Carlos did in the past. He sent me videos to kind of ask questions. And Dave, the only thing with Carlos that intrigues me, is he has been listening for 3 or 4 years. So, I don't think it's somebody. I don't think that Red's Rhetoric listens to this show. I don't think that Wolfie listens to this show because
they're listening.
No, they don't care. They don't care because they've already made their minds up.
They're researching.
Oh boy, yeah, really researching. They're going to Honolulu and
you know who else listens? Dan Aykroyd listens.
Does he really?
I think so. Dan, you're always welcome to come on the real Globebusters.
Yeah, Dan, anytime you want.
And Gavin McGinnis, by the way. Gavin, you're listening. Your boy Owen's going to beat you to the punch, so you better have me back on.
Great. Let's go to the next caller, I believe. I don't know why it says hands. I've never seen this before. This is the 425 area code. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from?
Hey, I'm from Washington.
Washington, a great little place up there north. How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. How you doing, Jeran?
I'm doing great. You got a question for us?
Awesome. So, yeah, absolutely. So, me and my wife have been listening to your guys' channel for actually quite a while.
For that, I appreciate it.
What kind of got me into this? Absolutely. Well, what started on this journey is we have a lot of islands here in the San Juans, here in Washington State, and we were at an Airbnb one day, and I had my camera with me because I'm a photographer, and I also do astrophotography, and I had my camera on my my tripod, and I zoomed up, and I was able to see downtown Seattle. Well, from where we were at, that should not be physically possible. I was like, wait, I'm seeing downtown Seattle, like all the buildings. So we went home and, looked at the photograph, zoomed in. And I was like, wow, that's kind of incredible. And so I started researching, the calculator. So I started calculating this out, and I was like, well, that's interesting. We shouldn't be able to see this from where we're at. And so all of a sudden popped up your channel. And so I started watching your channel, and I said, Dave, you got to watch Jeran. Like, check this out. This is so awesome. And she checked it out with me. And lo and behold, it was like, wow, we really got to rethink like what we are, kind of given in the mainstream media. And so the question that I have, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was saying if I had one goal in all my videos, it's just to get people to rethink everything that they've been taught and that they hold as a belief system. I think the more facts we can get and the more closer we can get to the truth is how you eliminate some of those belief systems and get to knowing. So sorry to interrupt, though. Go ahead.
Oh, no, absolutely. Yeah, and and now that you said that, what was really funny is this. We got 3 boys, and one's 6, and the twins are 7. And the twins went to school, and I explained them to the mathematic deal with the whole flat earth. And I said, go ask your teacher when you go to school tomorrow. I said, go ask her about the flat earth. So, of course, my 7-year-old tells the teacher, hey, guess what? My dad said the flat's earth, or the earth's flat. And, oh, my God, I got a school call from the principal the next day. You can't be telling the kids that the earth is flat. And I was like, well, can you give me some mathematical equation that tells me that my kids are wrong? I told them to question everything. Because, I tell them to question everything in the first place.
And now you're homeschooling
you just can't go by what somebody... Yeah, I was in so much trouble. And
you hate to rush. You got a big group lined up, so you said you had a question for us?
Yeah. Yeah, so I do astrophotography, so I got a lot of photographs and I look at a lot of stuff from the sky. The other night, because we live in a valley, I looked at the blood moon, and the question that I had is, and the whole scheme of things in the flat Earth theory, okay, I was looking at the moon through my telescope, and above one cloud there was what looked like a part of a sphere, but on the bottom it looked like a small oval of some kind, if you will. But when you look at the picture, it doesn't look like the moon is like this huge sphere. It looked like the moon was a sphere on top and this little nub on the bottom. It did not look right at all. And so I want to get your take on that.
Yeah, I appreciate the call. I've seen some weird things like that before, and usually I think it's just the way that it's the atmosphere that's pulling it. Because, Dave, have you ever seen that before where clouds may pass in front of the moon, but then it will like separate the moon into a top piece and a bottom piece? You ever seen that?
I think that's just an atmospheric effect with the clouds. Yeah. What amazes me is how the moon only lights up the clouds that are right below it. You know why?
Because the moon is close.
Because those are the clouds that are right below it. It's right there.
I got it right. What do I win?
Yeah. All right, next caller.
Okay, next call. Hey, something interesting, though, Dave. I don't know if you ever look at your analytics on your videos. I was looking recently, and I had to ask Nathan Oakley, because at first I was concerned. I said, Nathan, what are your percentages on the amount of time watched by subscribers versus non-subscribers? And he said, why? What's yours say? And I said, well, mine says 69% of my watch time is non-subscribers. And I was kind of concerned about that. And he was like, dude, that is what you want. And I was like, well, why would I want that? And he's like, because it means that your videos are being shared to people that don't already subscribe. He looked at his analytics and says his analytics are flipped. He has like 80% or something subscribed and only 20% unsubscribed. So he said the problem with that is you've got the same 80% of, you got the same number of people watching your show every day who are already subscribed, which is great. And, props to them for watching. But he was, I don't know, he just pointed out to me and I was like, man, I never thought about that. I didn't really pay attention. I was like, okay, I guess that is good. He's like, yeah, that's what you want. You want more of your views going out to people that aren't subscribed, because that's how you have more of an opportunity to get subscribers. So just thought it was interesting that last caller was talking about how he found my videos, and I guess a lot of my videos are being watched by people that aren't subscribed, and I guess that's what I want. I don't know. Have you ever looked at your analytics at all as far as that goes?
What does analytics mean?
All right, let's move on to the next.
No, I have not looked at them, but yes. Now I'm going to look because I didn't know that they showed that.
All right, let's go to the 323 area code. You're on with Jeranism on DITRH RAW. Who's this? Where are you from?
It's Thomas. How you doing? I'm in Hollywood.
What's up, Thomas? Down in LA. What's going on?
Hey, man. It's so great to talk to you guys. I've been listening to you for years. I am on board with the whole concept of the Earth flat business. And I want to ask you real quick. This is a guy I listen to, also watch on YouTube, Donnie Daytona. He does these aerial drone photography of the sun. And I was wondering what you guys' perspective was on the sun simulator topic, a peripheral topic you guys haven't hit yet. Really intriguing by it. What do you think about that?
Dave, have you ever seen that channel? It doesn't ring a bell to me. Donnie Daytona?
Donnie of Daytona. He'd be an awesome guest for you guys. He's a super mellow dude. He does his own like techno kind of music in the background, and he lives in Florida. He flies his drone above the clouds all the time and photographs the sun. And he's getting awesome like anomalies that are perfect for you guys to discuss. I just really wanted to throw it to you guys because I love what you guys do, and it's awesome to talk to you, man. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, viewing celestial objects above what I call the mid deck, the atmospheric cloud deck, gives you a completely new perspective because you're not in between the sandwich of the land and the cloud deck. If you can get above that, that's where it's all happening.
All right, I just subscribed.
Right.
I've never heard of this channel, and I just looked at his most recent video, Dave, or not most recent, 2 days ago. He put out a video, 100% proof the sun is local as shiznit. So,
all right, I'm in. Put a link in the chat so we can all subscribe to him.
Yeah, I will. I'll put a link to. Yeah, please subscribe. And he looks like he's talking. The sun is local, and the blood moon is local.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a whole bunch of stuff.
Yes.
So definitely in. Let me.
Into the Sun Simulator. Dave, have you ever looked into the Sun? Or Jeran, have you looked at the Sun Simulator concept at all? I mean, there's like patents for it, and
looked into it a little bit.
We'll talk about it right when we get back. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw.
Tell me about the waters of your homeland, Morty.
It is well known that the key to escaping the Matrix is purifying your consciousness. But our consciousness is bombarded daily with chemicals in the air we breathe, the food we eat, and the water we drink. This is why we are proud to bring you TFRwater.com, where you can get the Alexa Pure water filtration system. Unlike typical water filters, the Alexa Pure comes standard in stainless steel to keep your water free of BPA and dangerous chemicals found in plastic. This revolutionary water filtration system removes 99.999% of all contaminants, including fluoride, a dangerous neurotoxin added to drinking water, which was first used in Russian gulags to keep prisoners docile. This is standard without the need for expensive add-ons. The Alexa Pure retails for $199, but you can get $50 off by going to TFRwater.com now. Supplies are limited. 4 per person, please.
Your home has needs. It needs a healthy, dry environment all year round. Start by getting rid of the worst air in the basement and crawl space, where the problems begin and make the whole house sick. Introducing the new Smart Wave Ventilation Unit. It has advanced technologies to continuously reduce moisture, mold, and odors, and expel radon, gases, and pollutants. And now, Wave units include carbon monoxide detection to automatically expel air at a high rate and send you an alert. It also has an app so you can remotely monitor the conditions. Wave is a comprehensive, maintenance-free, affordable solution that will transform your entire home. Protect your home and family with what it needs. Give it a new Smart Wave Ventilation Unit. For more information, call 888-717-WAVE. That's 888-717-WAVE. Or go to dryhealthyhome.com. That's dryhealthyhome.com.
Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
Jacob Frank Leibovich is the mastermind behind a global network of satanic cults. He taught that the Creator God was evil. Jacob Frank proclaimed himself as the true Messiah. He vowed never to tell the truth. He rejected every moral law and declared that the only way to a new society was through the total destruction of civilization. Murder, rape, incest, and the drinking of blood were perfectly acceptable actions and rituals. His followers established the Marxist system and have infiltrated Islam and Judaism. He was the Messiah of the Illuminati.
EnigmaTV.com.
You are now tuned into the truth frequency.
Your protection from deception. TFR.
Truth Frequency Radio.
All right, welcome back. You are listening to Jeranism Monday Night Raw. We've got 1.5 hour left to go. Phone lines are pretty full, but if you want to try and get in line for a quick call, 213-233-3998. The last caller before we disconnected with him was asking about the Sun Simulator. David, I've done a little bit of research into that. It's definitely a thing. It's definitely got a patent for it. I'm not sure that a lot of people think that the sun that we have now is a sun simulator. That's a little bit tough for me to believe because of the speed that it must move to basically, circumnavigate the Earth. So I'm not sure that that's the case, but I'm definitely in the opinion that if you're talking about being down in Antarctica and you're talking about these bases, so let's say you have a certain base that's at, 90 degrees south, so you're at the South Pole, so-called, that I definitely think that they have a simulator that they could put up on a balloon that they would be able to circulate in the sky above your head. They wouldn't even need to do a very big circle. It would just go in a circle around your head, and anybody there would look up and think they see the sun the entire time. So, I mean, it is possible that it's being used, yeah.
Yeah, possible. Or they could use it for, military actions to light up an area that they need lit up for an extended period of time.
Yep, absolutely. So I definitely think it's possible. There's lots of documentation out there if you just search solar simulator and NASA technical memorandum. I think there's one from 1994, one from 1969, and a couple other patents for it. So definitely a thing, and I'm anxious to check out that channel, Donnie from Daytona. I did put the link in the Ginger Sugar Bush chat, so you can check that out if you want, but he looks like he's got some videos on that fact, so I'll be checking those out. Let's get back to the phones. Let's go to, I got this error on my screen. A network connection error occurred. Trying again now. But it's blocking my ability to pick up calls. So 1 second, let me refresh this page, and we'll move on. All right, here we go. Next caller, you're from the 905 area code. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from?
Lawrence of Canada.
What's going on? How are you?
Hello. Pretty good. I got a joke and a question.
All right, quick joke, quick question. Let's go.
The joke is Pangea.
That's a pretty good joke.
Okay.
Yeah, in case people don't understand what the idea that we were all one continent, but people need to open their minds.
Yeah, I was watching
it's all connected.
I was watching the 24-hour how the universe works, and they had a picture of it. I was like, yeah, how's that work? But,
yeah, it doesn't. Unless
anyway.
we're all islands, unless all the continents are islands of some sort. But go ahead with your question.
If you took a dirigible, went up 400 feet, dropped the line to the water. I'm in Hamilton here, looking towards Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And the dirigible, went away. And, dropped the line, have a camera, dropped the line 400 feet, hits Toronto. By the time it hits Toronto, it's supposed to be on the other side of the curve. And then you could see it in the distance, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would be a good test.
Oh, that'd be a great test. I thought you were saying you did it.
No, I didn't do it. I don't have a dirigible, but if anybody out there has one and, wants to do it, I thought it would be a better test than doing it at the water line, because you can't see anything at the water line, but the higher you go, you were saying earlier, the higher you go, the better it would be.
All right,
so I don't know how you could go. No atmosphere refraction or, but.
That's a really good
idea.
idea.
I just thought that would be.
Yeah, appreciate the call. I think it's a good idea. If anybody has one of those, I don't know where you would get one, but let's go to the next caller. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw from the 502 area code. Who's this?
What's up, Jeran? It's John.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent. Thanks.
I got a couple theories. I'm a true believer in flat Earth. Sitting here listening to the show tonight. Love what you do.
Thank you.
Chemtrails. I think. I don't know. This is just my opinion. I think the government's covering up what they're doing above us, trying to figure out if there's a firmament. I'm a believer in the Bible as well, what God did. I think these chemtrails, they're trying to put a layer over us that we can't see with this new space program they have. They're doing whatever they're doing up there.
Yeah.
That being said,
on that. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I totally agree with that they're definitely doing something up there. They're definitely hiding it, and whatever they're doing is creating clouds above my head. I can watch time-lapse footage that shows these planes cross the sky, and if it was just contrails, as I've been told by everyone else and Metabunk and every website you look it up, If they were just contrails, then they would just go away. But what happens is they actually then spread over the entire sky, and then the next thing you know, they all turn into clouds. So, they're definitely doing something up there. I don't know if they're trying to block the sun, reflect the sun, heat the earth, cool the earth, whatever they're doing. They're not telling us. But go ahead.
They're hiding. That's what they're doing. Everybody knows. Antarctica, surrounded by this ice shelf.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, your opinion, outside of that? Like, you've heard of the cosmic egg, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You think there's extraterrestrial land beyond, I don't know how far it would be, but we're not allowed to go there for a reason.
Right.
You think there's something more, or even Middle Earth or Hollow Earth? What's your opinions on that?
The reason I think that that's a possibility, a heavy possibility, is because it would make more sense to me as to why they're hiding what they're hiding. If it was just about keeping us trapped on a sphere, I think that they could do that with the idea of an AE map if they said, oh, well, it's just covered with a dome and you can't go further than that. So they could do the same thing really by trapping us that way if they wanted to. So I do think that it's a possibility that there are other suns and other pockets. And yeah, if you go too far away from this sun, you're going to have a hard time. But I do think that they might be crafts or something that might have the ability to go further. The stories like Iron Republic, and Worlds Beyond the Poles by Giannetti, all those kind of books lead me to think that there is something else. But as far as claiming that that's the case, no, because I have no evidence. I've never been there, and haven't seen really anybody bring back evidence telling me that those places exist. But it would be very easy for them to hide, and the way that they would hide it is exactly what we see now, which is a completely blocked continent of Antarctica that no country has claimed, that nobody can go to without going to a specific little point where they tell you have to go with a tour group that is specifically given one place they can go. So yeah, that's exactly how you would block it. So it certainly leads me to believe that there's more out there. Dave, you got the same opinion or different?
You asking me?
Same. Absolutely, yeah. I agree.
Yeah, I was asking you, Dave.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think all of that's true and much more. I think they're using it for, military uses by electrifying the air. They might be, some of these California fires, I think, are involved with the chemtrails. I think that, maybe this possible hoax alien invasion could be, used with this screen that they've actually put up in the sky. I mean, it is the from nanoparticles to weather control to there's so much to it. I have not been able to come up with a single theory because I don't think there is a single theory.
No, I would agree. And as I've stated before too, they maybe the Earth does go in cycles, and it could be in a cycle where things are heating, and that would be very scary if the outer edges of our Earth is protected by ice, like the Antarctic shoreline, and they may want to stop the heating of the Earth because maybe there's some fissures that open or some pathways. That's a way that's told in the Iron Republic. Guy got in a boat and went through one of these little cracks and came out the other side and thought that they were still within our globe, and then realized when they got to another continent that wasn't. They said, no, we're a continent equal distance from the ice wall that you are on the other side, equal distance from America. But again, you have to read that book and check it out. It's written in the late 1800s and talks about all these technological advances that this continent called the Iron Republic had. And this person is claiming things in the late 1800s that no way they would have expected, and we have all those things today. So is it possible that there's a continent outside of here that is, 100, 200, 300 years advanced beyond us? Sure. And people might say, well, why don't they come over here and tell us? Well, why would they? We're over here. We're trapped by a government that wants to keep people down, that wants to tell lies, that wants to destroy lives, that wants to kill and maim. If you're a continent on the other side of the ice wall that lives peacefully with 300 years advanced technology, why would you dare try and come over here? You're going to stay over there and just ignore the entire what we call the Earth because they don't want anything to do with these people that run this area. And the people that run this area are evil dirtbags. So that's my opinion on that. Let's go to the next caller, 905 area code again, I think. Maybe it's the same person. You're on with Jeranism RAW. Who's this?
Hey, Jeremy, David. It's Brian.
Oh, it's you.
I love you guys.
Just called, I guess.
Yep.
You're not supposed to say that.
No, not. No, I love you guys, but I'm not in love with you.
Well, thank you. I prefer it that way.
So just a happy story. I was talking to a coworker, because all my coworkers know I'm a flat earther, and he was listening to some people from the Philippines in their native language, and they were talking flat earth. And he was like, maybe in the next 5 years, everyone will know.
Well,
But
within the next 5
nobody
years,
else really.
at least in the next 5 years, everyone will have heard of it. I said, at least in the next 5 years, everyone will have heard of it. Maybe that's the case now. I think we need to do a little bit more work for that. But again, I don't think it's possible that a child could have come out of fourth grade 5 years ago and not believed in the sphere Earth. And I think that I would love to say single-handedly, but of course I've had a ton of help from all the great flat Earth channels. I think that we've really done a group effort in making sure that now there's going to be quite a few children that can come out of fourth grade and at least have the doubt in their mind that what they're being told may not necessarily be the truth. And I think that's step one. But really, I think we can change it in a generation. I really think it's that easy that if this generation now has children, or at least my generation that has children, teaches them to question everything, not just believe things that they say when they say scientists say or scientists discovered. That doesn't mean that it's true and that you have to put it into your fact categories. If we can teach that, that's huge, because then those children are going to grow up differently than we did, and they're going to teach their children, and potentially the Earth has a chance, albeit a small one.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
All right.
Go on for the next caller, because you got 15. No, I'm looking at the clock that's ran out of batteries. Never mind.
All right.
Take the next caller.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate the call from Ginger Sugarbush 905, and thank you for simulcasting. And just real quick, I should mention that because I'm not sure if people understand why I do that. I actually have seen a comment, why do you end the show at an hour? I have an agreement with Truth Frequency Radio that we're not allowed to put our entire shows on YouTube. We can put half the show, which is what I do. And there is no rule about somebody else simulcasting the show. So Ginger Sugarbush does that the second half for me, and then he removes it by the time because basically the way it works on TFR is this show is free tonight if you're listening to it live, and it will be free the entire show for the entire next week until David and I do another show next Monday, at which point this goes into the archives, and then you have to be a member of True Frequency Radio to catch the archives. So at that point, Ginger Sugarbush removes the video. But this way we offer kind of a chance for people to chat on YouTube if they want, listen on YouTube if they want, listen on my channel if they want, or come to TFR. So it's the best case scenario for now. Let's move on to another caller. This person calling from, and I don't get an area code here. I think they're from Australia. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. What's up?
Hey, what's up? It's Mitchell again. I was just chiming in on the fluoride and chlorine thing. There's actually a filter you can put on your shower from Amazon, about $30. Send you a link. I thought that was pretty cool.
Really? It's just a shower.
Yeah. Yeah, it just screws onto the faucet of your where your shower comes out, and then the shower head goes onto that. It's about $30 from Amazon.
Nice, and it blocks the fluoride.
Yeah, it's an 8-stage filter. Yeah, it blocks fluoride, chlorine, everything.
All right.
Good for skin problems too.
Great.
But I did have a question about the. Sorry.
Shoot. Go ahead.
I did have a question about the eclipse. Like we see a 70-mile kind of dark spot from a solar eclipse on the Earth from the moon. Like other way around. Like why don't we see a kind of a dark spot on the moon from the Earth, like of the umbra? That's what my question is. But I'll take that offline if you want.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Do you have an answer for that one?
I don't understand the question. Why don't we see a dot on the moon?
No. Yeah. So it's when the moon eclipses the Earth, we see that little tiny shadow spot cross the Earth. Supposedly, again, that's
right because the moon's shadow is so much bigger; it encompasses the whole moon. That's why we're seeing the curve. That's what they tell us.
Right.
You can't shine the shadow of a quarter on a dime, but you can put a dime on a quarter.
Quarter on a dime. Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, my biggest thing, and again, I would love to see some videos about this. I had a hard time figuring out how I'm going to film it. I'll probably have to get my camera out there and put it on a tripod, put it close. But I couldn't figure it out last night, and it was funny because you could tell that word eclipse must have been out there floating in the air because Curious Jay started texting me right about the start of the
boy.
eclipse, and didn't stop until 11:30. So Curious Jay, if you're listening to this on your treadmill again, thank you. Last night was fun as we went back and forth and pretty much decided that everything that we're being shown online is wrong, doesn't work in the heliocentric model. He was sending me photos as best as he could, because I couldn't see the moon, of course. But he was sending me photos that he could see from LA and showing me that the path that it was supposed to take online was not the path that it was taking. And we were racking our brains, figuring out a way that it works on the globe model, and it just simply doesn't. That's the best way that I can word it. But again, just take a larger ball and try and cast a shadow on a smaller ball, and you'll see that on the smaller ball, the shadow begins as a happy face, if you will. So it's a up, I don't know how to, happy face shadow. And then it gets to about halfway of the moon ball, and it's a straight line, and then it starts to arc into a frowny face, if you will. So that is completely opposite of what we see, or at least I watched a few online live streams of the eclipse, and the shadow started off and it looked like a frown face as it entered the moon. And no matter what I could do last night, I could not get it to replicate that. So, Dave, does that make sense what I'm saying there?
It does. And again, with how ballers reverse everything, they say eclipses prove the ball Earth, and I say eclipses prove the flat Earth. I
agree. So I believe that we're done with phone calls, at least if this thing's still working. I don't think there's anybody else. So if anybody wants to get in a quick question, 213-233-3998. Otherwise, we do appreciate you guys listening, as you do each and every week, I'm sure. You probably have this on some sort of alert. If you don't, best thing you can do is go to Jeranism, the YouTube channel, and make sure you subscribe. And then next to the subscribe button is a little bell icon. And when you click that icon, you'll actually get notified when I post a video or go live. That would be the best way to stay up to date with that. And if you want to become a patron, which is very helpful, that my patrons, I thank you, numerous times over, because I couldn't do what I'm doing right now without that help. So it allows me to spend way less time than I used to on my regular job. And I still go to the auctions on Saturdays, but that's my only day now that I really spend time on my other job, except for listing those items and selling those items. And
let me just say something here.
Sure.
There's people that relentlessly, tirelessly tune into every one of your videos because they love it, and asking them for a donation to become a patron, even just not more than $5, just $5 a month would be amazing. If everybody did that, you wouldn't have to do those auctions anymore. You can do more shows, better content. You can do, not that your content's not great already, but yeah, it's just like I equate it to when you go to a bar, you buy a round of drinks for somebody. That's basically 4 or 5 months of donations to Jeran, and then you tip the bartender just for pouring you a drink. Okay, it's less than tipping the bartender for something that you like, a service that you are being offered for free. So don't look at it as you're paying for it. Look at it as a donation.
Yeah, that's kind of that's the kindest. I've gotten a couple PayPal donations where somebody will send $5, and then in the little note they'll put, "Hey, I used to spend $60 a month on DirecTV, which I got rid of now, and I mainly watch YouTube videos." And they say, so now instead of spending that $60 on DirecTV, I choose 10 people that I like each month and send them $5 for thanking them for the entertainment value. And I thought that was just awesome. That was great to see. I was like, yeah, that's fantastic, awesome, because I'm in the same boat that I don't pay for TV. And so whenever I have a chance to donate to any channel that I'm watching a lot or that's starting to become something I watch a lot, I love to give back, even if I can, $5 here and there, just because I know how much it can add up when you get that. I do have to look at real quick the phone lines. We have a phone call that's coming in. The person's name is Robert Simon, which is the same name as the NASA guy, but I don't think we're that lucky. You're on with Jeranism Monday Night Raw. Who's this? Where are you from?
Hey, guys. No, it's Bob Simons, but I just real quick wanted to ask you guys, Bob Simons from Minnesota, I should say.
Hey, Minnesota.
Anyway, what happened to you guys' interview the other day with SpaceX guys and the NASA guys? I was kind of waiting for you guys to address that. What happened to the... I mean, it was on. I was listening to it for, for about a half an hour, and then it just kind of cut off.
Oh, that was a long time ago. You're talking about the debate that we had with the Twisted 10 crew?
No, it was just an interview just released a couple 3 days ago.
On what channel?
It was just like two spaces. So
yeah, I know which one you're talking about. That's well over a year ago. If you're talking about the one.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, so you can find that on my channel. Just go to Jeranism and search. I'm trying to remember, was Dave, when we did the Twisted 10, that was when we gave the 10 things that science needed to answer. But when we did the debate, what was that on? Was that also on Twisted 10? I can't remember now.
I think it was on their sister channel.
Maybe somebody just reposted it.
Oh, maybe. Okay, if you look at my channel, just search Jeranism and debate. Oh, man, trying to remember the name of that video. But, yeah, we did a debate with two NASA, or there was a NASA employee, a SpaceX employee, and yeah, you can find the debate online. I'm sure it's on my channel. So.
Okay.
But appreciate the call. We've got 3 more callers. We're gonna try and get in a few here real quick. You're on with Jeran. Who's this? 206 area code.
Hey, this is Ryan over here in Washington. How you doing, Jeran?
What's up, Ryan?
Hey, I wanted to talk a little bit about what the flat Earth means, and to me, and hopefully the rest of the world at some point. I think the heliocentric hoax was the work of our creator. He gave us something to compare our closed system to. So he gave us the complete opposite, the infinite dust storm ball dance, So it truly was here for a reason. The way it was designed is going to help us to figure out the truth in the future. And I think it has something to do with the cube perception. The Saturnalian cube, L, the bull, the by bull. There's something to the bull god, Satan, the whole deception. It's all for us to learn from, and you guys are brilliant guys, and I think the philosophical aspect of it can help bring out a lot of truth. So I want to encourage you guys to look that way. I like to look through language. I think it's brilliantly written by our creator. So I think this is the most fun man can have, is trying to figure out his reality. So we're all very lucky. You guys are definitely instruments of good and God. So keep doing what you're doing, boys.
Thank you.
Hey, appreciate that, man. That was the best call tonight. That was really good.
It was very good. Thank you.
Yeah, and I kind of agree with them. I mean, it certainly seems like that's the case, is that if we have two competing ideas and it's up to people to decide which one is the truth. And the problem is, as I stated earlier in the show, that when you bring up children and from the first time they can even think, you tell them that the earth is not all that there is. In fact, there's a zillion other things just like the earth. In fact, this is not special at all, that there must be other life out there. There must be other animals, that you aren't the apple of God's eye, when all the testing and experiments that we can do tell us the opposite, that you are actually the center of the universe. Everything's moving away from you, and that this is the center, the apple of God's eye. So in my opinion, I always say the earth is all there is. I think I want to do a video on it and just explain to people that that's why questions like, well, what's underneath the flat earth and what's over here? What's 50 million miles that way? Well, the earth is all there is. So when you ask me what's underneath it or can it be flipped over? No, that's how special this place is it's all that exists. It's where life exists. But they teach you right away that it's just like the moon. The moon is a sphere, the earth is a sphere, and that the other planets are spheres, and that we all are going around in crazy speeds and flying through space. So, I was going to take the last call, but we've only got a minute. Well, we'll try the last call. You're on with Jeranism on the Net Raw. Who's this? Where are you from? Be quick. Not a good start.
Am I on?
You're on. What's up?
Hey, what's going on, Jeran? Shout out to Jeran, DITRH.
Is this Jose?
Jose J.G. Gonzalez, a.k.a. Yeah, Jose 2.0 is here.
Jose, yesterday I heard somebody tell me that you are a globe earther. Is that true?
I have had a change of heart, yes.
You have? You got gifted the P900?
I'm not...
You got gifted the P900 and then made observations, and then you changed your mind that, man, I got to talk to you about that. I got to have a conversation with you. I'm really shocked. There's not a lot of people that, and I've heard you on the debate shows. Man, this call is going to end. Maybe you can call in next week, Jose, or we can meet up or have a conversation on Skype, because I would love to talk to you, Jose J.G. Gonzalez, who took the the donation for the P900, and now I heard somebody saying he's a ball earther. So, Jose, the show just ended, so we can't continue with you. But maybe I'll get in contact with you on Skype and we can have a conversation. I'd love to see what you saw that changed due to a ball earther, because I've been looking for 4 years and can't find anything. Dave, any final words before we go?
That is all, man. Check it out. Check out the app, and see you guys next week.
Flat.
Truth Frequency Radio is your #1 source for news and information without the hate, hype, and fear. We're proud to feature cutting-edge programs like The Christopher Everard Show, The Covert Report with Susan Lindauer, Enemy Within Radio with Tom Barnes, Freaky Friday with The Woo Crew, The Gematria Effect with Zachary Hubbard, America's Evil Genius with Travis Cook, Phoenix Rising Radio with Phoenix, Quantum Connections with Lucky, and dozens more. Did you know you can listen from any telephone by dialing 641-793-7117 or call into your favorite show toll free at 833-TFR Live. Uncensored talk and news you won't hear in the mainstream media. Truth Frequency Radio, your protection from deception.
Government closure, the 2020 race. I'm Ann Cates. As the federal government shut down,
At some point, this agency reaches its breaking point.